I'm Kiersten. I'm from the Kalamazoo area. This really started back when I got pregnant with Sam, my son Sam, and I just had this horrible pain, upper right abdomen. And when I had it, it would just be paralyzing, terrible. I would be stuck in bed all day pretty much. If I moved or breathed, sometimes I'd just be screaming in pain. It was so bad, and we couldn't figure out what it was. I went to hospital, try to figure out. They're like, we don't know what it is, probably just pregnancy related. And I was in such a bad state. I kept also not being able to eat or drink because the pain would get worse whenever I would eat or drink. So I would have to go, I went to the ER, I think 2 or 3 times, just from dehydration and not getting enough nutrition that made it hard while being pregnant. But after it gave birth, I was like, okay, it got better. But it did make me afraid to get pregnant again because it was so bad. And my poor husband was miserable. I was miserable during the whole pregnancy. Josh did everything, cleaned the house, made the dinner. I couldn't go down the stairs and stuff. It was really bad. In the past year, it had been getting steadily worse. So, and I didn't even realize it. I was kind of subconsciously cutting out more and more food until my husband says, Kiersten, you're just you can't go out anywhere. You can't eat anything anyway. We got to figure out what's going on. And I actually had given up. I gave up because I'd been to my regular primary, gone to my regular hospital, and they were like, nope, we don't know what it is. Kind of wrote me off as being exaggerating the pain, which I think I actually, now looking back, was undercutting the pain. So I didn't consider Hillsdale at first when I was having this pain, just because, I go to the hospital that I'm used to, my doctor over there, and Hillsdale, I hadn't even really heard of it, except my sister-in-law had started working there, and they said, when I wasn't getting answers at my local hospital, they said, why don't you try Hillsdale? And so I came up here, drove all the way over here, and it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. It was a totally different experience than I've had. She right away ordered the tests, no problem, no pushback or anything. Other doctors would say, well, we don't really want to do that. They didn't want to. They got me a gallbladder test. They said, I think it's your gallbladder, right? They think it's gallstones or something's wrong with your gallbladder. She said it sounded like that. Right away, they got the test. I got the test, they get it back. And very quickly, they were like, yep, your gallbladder is full of sludge and polyps. And I didn't understand the test, so at first I thought, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. And then I called, they're like, yeah, no, that can lead to cancer, and you having symptoms is really bad, so we need to take it out. I was very nervous for this surgery. I was telling a lot of my friends, my family, I'm like, I don't know, very nervous about this because I haven't really had surgery besides my C-section. And I was like, I hope I'm making the right decision here. But I called them in the surgical clinic. They're like, yes, you're doing the right thing. It's gonna be so much better after you have it out. Everything just went so smoothly, so professionally. And I felt like the doctors and the providers and the techs were all just so attentive. They told me everything, as they're putting in the medicine, what's going on, how my body will react. It didn't feel like, oh, I don't know what's going on. And that has happened to me before a lot in doctor's offices. You're about to have surgery or something's happening, and you're like, you don't know. The patient is the last to find out. But they told me everything ahead of time and while they're doing it. So yeah, it was very informed and a great experience. I didn't realize I was in so much pain all the time until they took it out, because it's just gone now. And I'll eat and I'll wait for the other shoe to drop. Oh, it's gonna hurt, and it doesn't. It's wonderful. And I'm so excited to get pregnant again now, because I was just so afraid before. And now I'm like, oh, I can have a normal pregnancy. I kind of feel really affirmed by Hillsdale in a weird way, because when I was going to my other doctors, and I tried several different doctors, but a lot of the time I feel like they just kind of wrote me off. After a while, I believed them a little bit. I'm like, like I said, I thought maybe I'm just a wimp or something. And then finding out that there was actually something that wrong, and that it could lead to cancer, and it was serious, and that my own intuition wasn't off. And so I felt like I was just so much better listened to, and so much more just taken seriously. That was just really nice. That was wonderful.